Welcome to the Music Nut Program. I'm John. Thank you so much for joining me today. And welcome to my show on my 10 favorite albums of 2024. As I note in the description below, some of these artists have been with me for a few decades, and if you've known me that long, you know where I'm going there. Some of these artists I've been getting into the last 10 or 15 years, including one above my shoulder. And a couple of these artists I've been into the last year or so. So quite an eclectic mix here, but as time has gone on, I've just been a restless spirit when it comes to music. I just need to hear different stuff all the time. And that's what you're going to hear today. Number 10 is the Lost Dog Street Band and their album Survived. Who are the Lost Dog Street Band? This is considered dark country. To me, it's 50s and 60s country. Strong sense of craftsmanship, all the musicians playing for the song, great harmonies, excellent lyrics, great storytelling lyrics. This is a side project between Benjamin Todd and Ashley May. And Benjamin Todd also has a solo career, and he is a fine songwriter, wonderful vocalist as well. We have a lot of instruments here you would think would be more akin to bluegrass, like pedal steel and fiddle and banjos, but they're playing for the song. And the songs here are wonderful. Oh, the opener, Brighter Shade, is excellent. Lifetime of Work is very good. These are songs about life, songs about love, lost love, trying times. Muhlenberg County Line has a wonderful chorus on it, as does Lonely Old Soul. Last Train has a great chorus. It's probably the closest thing to like something up tempo. Most of this is mid tempo or slower. Hubbardville Store is an excellent track, the only song on the album that Benjamin didn't write. If You Leave Me Now is a tearjerker ballad. Survived is a killer closer. I saw this band in 2024 in Morgantown, West Virginia, and they did a wonderful job. And I have their last three albums, and all of them are very, very good. This is my number 10 for this year, 2024. Survived by the Lost Dog Street Band. Number 9, I want to give a shout out to my Birmingham brother, John Clauser, as well as Ben and Jason Carson, who told me about this band, and I knew who they were, but they said, check them out. They're really good. And they were right. Red Clay Strays, their second album, Made by These Moments. Who are the Red Clay Strays? This is Southern rock meets gospel. A lot of songs here about faith and believing in yourself and pushing forward. Brandon Coleman is a wonderful vocalist, and this band is very talented. The opening tracks, Disaster and Wasting Time, very Southern rock. Brandon's vocals are similar to Warren Haynes, maybe more Southern would be a way I can describe him. Wanna Be Loved is a tearjerker ballad that's very strong. Ramblin' reminds me of Marshall Tucker Band, and I do know they have a song called Ramblin' as well. Second half of the album, we're bouncing between ballads and gospel. On My Knees and God Does both have a gospel feel to them. Devil in My Ear talks about self-destruction, something that a lot of us guys can relate to. A lot of us have that self or destructive part of us. But this is very well done. Great album. Definitely check these guys out. This is the Red Clay Strays. made by these moments, and this is my number 9. Number 8. It's one of my favorite blues artists of the last 10 years. I've talked about him at great length on this channel and other channels. It's Tinsley Ellis, Naked Truth. This is his acoustic blues album. It's just Tinsley, that golden voice, and his guitar, foot stomp, and some occasional hand claps. This is very well done. Another strong addition to his catalog. We have 4 instrumentals on here. Silver Mountain, as I described on our very first episode of the Music Nut program, reminds me of taking a ride out in the country on a Sunday afternoon. It has that kind of feel. Alcovy Breakdown is more hard hitting. There's a lot of strumming on that one. The Sailor's Grave on the Prairie is a Leo Kottke cover, which is very good. We also have covers of Death Letter Blues and Willie Dixon's Don't Go No Further, but the originals on here are wonderful. Devil in a Room is a killer opener. Horseshoes and Hand Grenades got this slow burn that works very well. Grown Ass Man is excellent track. Everything on here is very, very good. So this is my number 8, Tinsley Ellis, Naked Truth. And yes, I have seen him live, and I discovered him at places like the Sellersville Theater and the Mock Junk Opera House. Number 7, a band I've loved for 40 years when I was a heavy metal kid. Judas Priest, Invincible Shield. In my opinion, their best album since 1990's Painkiller. You want to hear me talk more about this, please watch our Judas Priest series on my friend John Clauser's channel, My Music Corner, when we review the Judas Priest studio albums in their entirety. This is a great latter-day album by Judas Priest. Panic Attack is a killer opener. Invincible Shield is a near progressive, wicked title track. Devil in Disguise kicks ass and takes names. Gates of Hell, I call this a joyous song about hell. Yep, feel the same way. Crown of Horns is a wonderful mid-tempo anthem with a wonderful bridge on it. Trial by Fire is very good. As God's My Witness, Sons of Thunder are more hard-hitting, a la in the Painkiller vein. Judas Priest are still bringing it. And it's proven here on Invincible Shield, which is my number 7. Number 6. This is a band I discovered at the Mock Junk Opera House in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. From Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is Bywater Call and their album, Shepherd. Who do they sound like? Think Tedeschi Trucks Band, but more emphasis on the horns and their powerhouse singer, Megan Parnell. The guitars do a great job on here, but it's not as much about the guitars as that band that I discussed. Songwriting here is excellent. I think all of their albums are just getting better and better, but I really like the recording on here. Thought the horns were a little too loud on their previous album, Remain, but here everything is mixed very, very well. Songs are killer. Everybody Knows is a kick-ass opener. Sweet Maria, wonderful chorus that stays in your head. Same thing with the song Roll, For All We Know is excellent. Now and Never is very old school R&B that works very well. As If is hard funk. We're talking James Brown, the JBs, or Sly and the Family Stone. This kicks. Sign a Peace, the closer. Very well done. It's very NOLA. New Orleans music. That's the feel that you have here. Horn section, wonderful. The whole band really kicks ass, and they play for the song. This is my number 6, Bywater Call, Shepherd. Number 5, there she is, Danielle Nicole, with her album, The Love You Bleed. This was Danielle's first album in almost 6 years. I heard her play some of these songs a few years before because when you go see Danielle, sometimes her band will play some songs. They'll try them out before they release them on record. This is very well done. Again, just like her other two albums, Wolf Den, and Cry No More, respectively. This time around, we got the original Danielle Nicole band, well, the proper Danielle Nicole band here. Got the wonderful Brandon Miller on guitar, Go-Go Ray on drums, and Damon Parker on organ, piano, and synth. Very well done. Danielle, her voice can still stop time. Has a very big 70s R&B blues feel to it, just like her first two albums as a solo artist were. Love of Mike Rain is an excellent opener with a wonderful bridge on it. Make Love has that 70s R&B feel on it. How Did We Get to Goodbyes? That's got this slow burn that works very well. Fireproof is very good. Lovers Forever, that's an old Steve Goodman song. They do a great job on that. Say You'll Stay is a great ballad. Who He Thinks You Are might be Danielle's finest vocal performance. Young Love on a Hill has this very whimsical feel, ends the album very well. Fool's Gold is another great track. This is my number 5. Danielle Nicole Band always brings it. They continue to on The Love You Bleed. Number 4. Man, they only got into in the last couple years. And my fellow contrarian, Andy Blacksugar, plays guitar with this band. He's been part of the songwriting process for several years and several albums now. This is KMFDM, Let Go. I got to see KMFDM twice this year. I met Andy. Andy's a really good guy. Got to see him with my buddy, the incomparable Nick Esquire. They put on a great show both times, particularly the second time. The second time was a 40-year anniversary show, and they did songs from throughout their career. This kicks butt. The title track is very good. Airhead is an excellent track. A lot of 80s references on this. Very catchy, very new wavy. The guitar lines here from Andy are perfect for the song. Turn the Light On is a lot more kinetic. Touch is another great track. The vocals on that are wonderful. When the Bell Tolls is wonderful. Totem Eggs is a lot more hard hitting. WW 2023 is killer. Very strong album. Yes, this is, if you're not familiar with KMFDM, they are considered one of the first industrial bands, and they're still bringing it, whether it's on stage or in the studio. This is my number 4, KMFDM, Let Go. My top 3 are the same that they were when I did my first episode in August of 2024. My number 3 is a band I've loved for decades, Saxon, Hellfire, and Damnation. Biff Byford is the only original member here, but you have the Dark Destroyer, Nigel Glockler, on drums, and he's been here off and on since Power and Glory from 83. And you now have Brian Tatler in here from Diamond Head, replacing their original guitarist, Paul Quinn. Doug Scarrett and Nibs Carter have been there forever. This band is a machine. Saw them live also in 2024 with John Clauser and Nick Esquire. This album kills, though. And I like to see even more than Carpe Diem, which got a lot of strong reviews when that came out in 2022. Title song kills. Madam Guillotine is killer. Very catchy. Fire and Steel rages. There's Something in Roswell's very good. Pirates of the Airwaves, a song about pirate radio, I think is very strong. 1066 is excellent. Witches of Salem, Supercharger. They kick ass and take names. Strong, strong heavy metal album from a band who has a ton of them. Saxon, Hellfire, and Damnation is my number 3. Number 2. An artist I only got into maybe the last 10, 12 years or so. I'm just building my catalog. I loved him in Mott the Hoople, and I love Ian Hunter's solo stuff. This is Defiance Part 2, Bitchin'. He was nearly 85 years old when this album came out, and he is still a fantastic songwriter. A lot of people are like, oh, there's so many guests on this album. It's still about Ian. Ian's the songwriter, Ian's singing the songs, still a great piano player, still has a great knack for a ballad and for an ironic lyric, but is very catchy, like the opening track, People. The Third Rail's a tribute to Jeff Beck, who plays lead guitar on this song, and he passed away right after this album came out. Well, actually, before the album came out, but he recorded it and he died not long after. This Ain't Rock and Roll has this great Stonesy swing to it, as does Everybody's Crazy But Me. Weed is an anthem about marijuana, but it's very angelic and very memorable. Kettle of Fish features the Cheap Trick guys, but it's pretty hard. I mean, it's harder than most of the Cheap Trick stuff. And we got those great ballads and What Would I Do Without You with Lucinda Williams, which is very good. And Hope is a tearjerker. It is an excellent way to close the album. So, Defiance, Part 2, I would still say Part 1's a little better, but they're both great. I think I had that at number 2 last year. Defiance Part 1, Defiance Part 2 is my number 2 for 2024. My number 1 is still the same, Chris Jacobs, One of These Days. Chris Jacobs, considered the great rock voice from Baltimore, Maryland, goes more bluegrass on here. He has the infamous string dusters here on accompaniments. And we have Jerry Douglas producing it. Great songs on here, very memorable, very spirited. Heavy Water's a wonderful opener. There's a lot of guests on here. Poor Davy's an excellent haunting track where we got Billy Strings on acoustic guitar, bringing in his magic. We got great songs that have an opera feel with Queen of the Avenue and Cold Cold Walls with the McCrary sisters on vocals. Pimlico is a very strong track. The title song is excellent, very memorable. Everybody's Lost is a great closer as well. While Roses and Dirt's very good. So this is my number 1 for 2024. One of These Days by Chris Jacobs. Give you a few honorables. I only picked up one new live album this year, but I'll tell you what, Tears for Fears, Songs for a Nervous Planet is excellent. The recording on here is immaculate. I did see them in 2022, and this sounds like they did live. Very strong set list here, very heavy on The Tipping Point, which was their album that had come out in 2022, but we got a nice mix from the first 3 albums. Nothing from Raul and the Kings of Spain, an album that I really love, but we got nearly all the big hits. Shouts on here, Change, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Sowing the Seeds of Love, Woman in Chains, Head Over Heels is on here, Pale Shelter. Very well recorded. The 4 studio songs that open this album they're good. I wouldn't say they're great. My favorite is still Astronaut after listening to this repeatedly. But this is a 2-disc set. We got 11 songs on each disc. Very well done. Songs for a Nervous Planet. If you want to go archival, and I know a lot of people have said great things about this album. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, live at the Fillmore East in 1969. the recording of this is very well done. We have a lot of songs here from the first Crosby, Stills, and Nash album, and songs that wouldn't be released till the next year on Deja Vu, like 4 and 20 and Our House. The first disc is an acoustic set. We also have their cover of the Beatles' Blackbird on here, their cover of Buffalo Springfield's On the Way Home, which Neil Young wrote and sang. Electric set's very, very strong, very dominated by Neil Young. There's a killer 16-minute version of Down by the River on here. Sea of Madness is on here, which originally I believe was only on the Woodstock soundtrack. Great versions of Long Time Gone and Wooden Ships. Very well recorded. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young live at the Fillmore East 1969. Here's a couple other honorables for you. This very hard-hitting album by Doug Pinnick, Thingamajigger. Now, if you like the heavier sound of King's X, this is for you. It's not Beatles-esque at all. Doug is in fine form here vocally. He may not have the range, but he still has the soul. The songs are very hard-hitting, and he pretty much did this solo, although he had a few guys, most notably Tommy Baldwin, coming in and doing some lead guitar work. The drums are programmed. I mean, you have to really listen to know that they are, but very hard hitting, 31 minutes, 11 songs. You like the harder hitting portion of side of King's X, maybe like Dog Man? Give this a shot. It's pretty good. Now, this is a band I'm definitely going to do a deep, deep dive into in 2025. Rest in peace, Jack Wastamacchia, because you got me into this band. The New Model Army, Unbroken. This I haven't had enough time to really give you a description on, but what I like on here, I really like. The songs are really resonating with me. But this band from the UK has a very long and varied and rich catalog. And I have the original album classics series. I did talk about their album No Rest for the Wicked on the Album War show of that title. This is very good. They're adding more acoustic elements to their sound, but based on the mix that Jack made me a few years ago, they did add more elements to their sound as time went on while retaining those fantastic lyrics written and sang by Justin Sullivan. So, what are your favorite albums for 2024? Do you have any of these albums I've listed? And what if you do, or if you've just heard them on Spotify or Amazon Music or Apple Music, what do you think of them? Please let me know in the comments, and please give me your top 10 albums for 2024 as well. Plenty more to come in 2025, I do assure you. Thank you for joining me today. Do what you love, and I'll talk to you soon.